Welcome to the Success Revenue Podcast, the only podcast in the Middle East that brings you leaders in customer success, account management, sales, and go to market to share ideas, perspectives, and valuable learnings on how to successfully drive revenue, delight customers, and take it to the next level.
We are your hosts. I'm Haydar Al-Saad, CEO of RevCenter, the modern customer management platform. And with me, I have my lovely co-host, Forero, CS executive, keynote speaker, and advisor. And we couldn't be more excited to bring you a long list of amazing guests every week this season. This is where we normally would start introducing our guests for the episode, give you some of the takeaways, and kick things off in terms of the episode that we have at hand and the topic that we're going to go into. But for this premiere episode, we're going to give you some of our background. We're going to bring you why we're here, why we started this podcast, and what we hope that you will get out of it as a listener. So Ivy, I'm so excited for this. We've been working on this for a long time. We've talked to some amazing people leading up to this initial season. And before we kick things off and talk about kind of why we're here, why we're doing this, I'm sure our listeners and our viewers would love to hear a little bit more about yourself and my background. But yeah, I'm super excited. Why don't you kind of kick us off a little bit, Ivy? Tell us about your background, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi, first of all, I am so happy that we're here. And I'm so happy that everybody who is tuning in, that you guys are eager to get to know us a little bit more and that you guys are here to learn more about the Middle East region and the people who are in executive leaders here in revenue departments. So my name is Ivy. I am originally from Colombia, but I grew up actually in the States. And just like everybody else in customer success, I landed in this field out of serendipity. I started my journey in sales and then slowly moved into customer success. I feel it was because I had the right skills, I had the right personality, and I just had the right mindset. And I was just always so crazy about customers and making sure that customers had everything they needed. And I was also always very ambitious and I had a very commercial mindset all my life, I would say, in all the roles that I had. So when I lived in the US, I first was in health data. I worked for a company that was doing a cloud solution in health data. Then I move on to environmental data. And now that I live in the UAE, I am in the well-being space. And throughout my career in customer success, I've been so fortunate to have worked with incredible mentors. And I have been very fortunate also of having the experience of building high performing teams in very high paced SaaS environments. And now in the UAE, I would say that my number one mission is surely to amplify customer success here in the Middle East. I think that when I moved here just a year ago, I grew up in Houston, in Texas. I quickly realized that there are people in customer success here and that it is a thing here. But I realized that there is a lot of potential for more companies to be able to adopt customer success. And I'm just so eager to be able to share more of my knowledge. I'm also an advisor and a keynote speaker. And yeah, that's a little bit more about myself. I've been in this field for about 8 years, and I feel like everybody that is in customer success, we just have this, like, especially in the US, the community is so big in customer success. There's so many people that are like top voices of customer success in the US. And I feel like there is a lot of opportunity for us to have that sort of like community in the UAE and for us to be able to be the catalyst for this community to grow even more.
Yeah.
What about you, Haydar?
That's awesome, Ivy. And I'll jump into myself, but just to say kind of that one of the big reasons why we connected initially was that kind of passion for customer success and revenue and driving that aspect within the Middle East region. And that comes out every conversation with you, that passion for it, which is amazing, which is why I'm so excited for us to do this together. And bring this to the region. So I just want to say that right off the bat as well. But yeah, I mean, my background for kind of our listening audience and um, people that we're connecting with and getting to know is interesting. I kind of at this point call myself a global citizen. I'm born in Iraq and here in the Middle East region. I grew up in Sweden in Europe, so spent most of my life there growing up, and then I spent basically the last 15 years my adult life right in America and the U.S. Bouncing around a few different cities on the East Coast, West Coast, LA being Los Angeles being the last place where I spent the last 8 years of those 15. And then now, since last summer, at this point, 6, 7 months ago, I'm now in the UAE and in Dubai. So we moved here for with my company that I run, and as we focus on this region, I wanted to be here locally and meet the people and create those relationships and connections. So that took me here, but yeah, I would say I'm a kind of global citizen, and I've been in the. I also like to say I've been in the customer success and kind of customer facing side of the business well before it was called customer success. 15 plus years. I've been doing this specifically and running teams, CS, account management, customer experience, global teams, local teams, all of the above, small teams, smaller kind of 10, 15 people and large global teams of several hundred people. So I had an opportunity to really um, get deep into customer success, revenue, and technology over my career. And on the side of that, I've always also been an entrepreneur at heart. So started a few different companies and exits, and that all kind of brought me to what I'm doing with RepSetter, which is a very customer management, customer success, account management software and enterprise software. But that kind of brought me with my daily passion, which is CS, and my kind of passion of building. It came together some years ago, and it's been a fun ride since then. And part of that ride is now the Middle East region. And I'm just really excited about being here, mainly because I've seen kind of the growth of customer success and account management in the US, in Europe, and other global markets that I've worked in and managed. And the signs, the early signs that you saw in those markets where it really exploded, you're seeing here in this region. So that kind of opportunity to be part of that and help drive that here is super exciting. And married, 3 kids, so they keep me busy outside of recording these podcasts and doing the day-to-day job and meeting people. But that's also super exciting. But couldn't be more happy to do this, Ivy. I know a question. You and I talked about this at one of our kind of earliest meetings that we had. We talked about how do we help amplify customer success, and we got into this podcast as one way of doing that. Why don't you, kind of from your perspective, tell me like why this podcast? Why are we doing this? What's your take on why this is important?
Yeah. I feel like it is extremely important because I feel like what we need the most, especially with how fast the world is moving, there's AI, there's a lot of things that are happening. What we need the most is community. And I feel like this is a great way to spotlight people in the Middle East. I feel like there's a lot of talent and a lot of knowledge that is spread out. And it's a way to capture everything together and to be able to share it with people who are in the Middle East, or even people who are interested on finding out more about the industry in the Middle East and how to break into the market and whatnot. So for me, it's all about connecting and making meaningful connections and being part of some sort of like knowledge hub where we're actually sharing our expertise with one another and where we can actually grow from listening into and picking everybody else's brain. I think for me that's the biggest driver. What would you say it's the biggest why for you here?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of those things are definitely part of why I think it's important and why I'm so excited doing this. And I think one of the other things that really for me, what was really important when we started talking about this is that there is so much knowledge within the region, but it sits with people kind of in these different silos at these different companies. You have some people that are still learning customer success, still implementing it, or account management, revenue kind of operations on the customer side, still implementing that in their companies, and they're trying to figure out some of the fundamental things around methodology and process and these things. And then you have other people in other companies where this is a lot more figured out. They've had the kind of trial and error, and they've tried different things and things that have worked and not worked, and now they've kind of figured things out. And then you have these people that kind of come from other markets and have influences from more kind of advanced economies in terms of specifically around customer success, account management, revenue operations, and so on and so forth. And you have kind of this wide gap and knowledge, and it's all in these different silos. And one of the big things is, how can we bring this together? How can we be part of getting people a lot more knowledge accessible for free and available to them to learn from, to get inspiration from, to kind of bring and internalize and bring to their teams or their companies, and kind of start making um, progress and really making progress without making the mistakes that others already made, and
Yeah.
instead learning of some of the ways that they can do it and kind of accelerate their own development individually as a team or as a company. So that aspect that I felt is missing here, and like I've seen that develop in other markets over the years, and usually that's where it starts. It's a community. There are people that kind of start sharing what they know and what they've learned, and there's platforms created to do so. We don't have enough of that here in the Middle East region, whether that's in UAE and Saudi, Qatar, Kuwait, and so on and so forth, Egypt. So I think that is a big part of why we're creating this, and what I was excited about doing it is we can bring all these executives and these leaders that have all this treasure trove of knowledge and experience, and we can kind of pick their brains and talk to them and ask them and understand how they got to where they got and the journey and the learnings, and others can then listen to that and take away from it. So um, really excited to do it because I think it's really needed, and then several of these markets here in the Middle East and overall as a region. So being part of that is humbling and exciting.
Yeah, it's super exciting to be in Dubai. I feel super inspired here. I feel
Yes.
very um productive, which it could be a bad thing because you have so much productivity rushing through your veins that it's like
Hmm.
you're constantly wanting to do things. But
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like Dubai is such a great launch pad, and I feel like the people that I've met in the Middle East are very ambitious and they have a very unique stories.
hmm,
So I think
absolutely.
is yeah, amplifying their voices is something that is very exciting and humbling. And one of
Yeah,
the things we want the audience to know is that, of course, we would love to get some suggestions of
yeah,
topics. We would love to get some sort of like suggestions. If there's anybody that you would like for us to interview, please do let us know. We definitely wouldn't be here if you guys wouldn't be supporting the podcast.
absolutely. And like you said, we have a long list of guests already ready to kind of be rolled out and confirmed, and that we're talking to or have talked to. But any new suggestions, any people that you guys feel could be inspiring to learn from, executives out there that wants to join in, reach out to us, and we get that going. And as a kind of final note, Ivy, I think one of the things that you said about the UAE and Dubai, and I've noticed this as well as since I got here, and then also traveling to Saudi and Riyadh and some other countries in the region, meeting customers and partners and people in the industry. It's People are really hungry for knowledge, especially within our space. They're really hungry for knowledge, for learning, for advancing, and they're ambitious, and that's part of it. But they're kind of looking for places to get that inspiration and get that knowledge from, which is, I think, super exciting to see that mindset that people have here in our region. So that's definitely one of the things where we hope to continue contributing. But yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited for this season, Ivy. We are have some really amazing guests coming up here. So hopefully everyone listening to this kind of quick introduction episode of the podcast will subscribe. You'll get the podcast on all your favorite places, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and so on and so forth. You also have our the video version on YouTube going out, as well as some other nice resources coming out throughout the week. So make sure you subscribe, you follow, you download, 5-star reviews, all that good stuff. We'll appreciate your support as we continue growing this format. And we're excited for you guys to check it out and listen to the first few episodes dropping along with this introduction here.
All right, Haydar, here we go. Let's see. Cheers to new beginnings and cheers to what's ahead.
Absolutely. Cheers. Thanks, Ivy.
Cheers.
See you on the other side.
We want to thank our sponsors for supporting the Success Revenue podcast. RevSetter is the #1 customer success and management platform in the Middle East region, offering global capabilities mixed with regional solutions that helps your CS, account management, and go-to-market teams 10x efficiency, improve customer experience, and turbocharge customer retention rates.
And thank you to Medlify, a leading marketplace. Workers and employers in the healthcare space needs and demands meet to create benefits for both sides. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.